The greatest defensive tackle in NFL history is preparing for a comeback, and the league may have no answer. With Myles Garrett beside him, Aaron Donald could become the most terrifying force football has ever seen. But one question remains. Is the monster still alive?
Rams are loading up. Is it fair for them to be considered the favorite ahead of the defending Super Bowl champs?
It is absolutely fair because there's another name that wasn't on that list, and it was Aaron Donald, which is also an incredible difference maker, and that's putting it lightly. Sam Darnold wasn't on the ESPN's top 10 quarterback list, which is the travesty because I am a Sam Darnold truther, and the way he's played over the last 2 years, I think has been understated how well he's played the quarterback position. That being said, their margin of winning that Super Bowl and beating the Rams down those important stretches was paper thin. And I would argue if they added just one of those names, it would flop the Rams to being the better team in that scenario. They added 4 names. They added 2 top-level corners. They added Myles Garrett, the best pass rusher of this generation, and potentially Aaron Donald, even if he is at 70%, is one of the best defensive tackles in the National Football League. So I don't think it's overstated that the Rams are the favorite because what we could possibly see there is unprecedented.
May come out of a 2-year retirement. Donald himself fueled that talk, and he continues to do it. Every once in a while, there'll be something on social media that he says or does that makes it seem more inevitable. And I kind of think we're at a point where it kind of does feel inevitable. Like at this point, it's going to be too hard. It's going to be harder to put the toothpaste back in the tube than it will be to just keep squeezing it out. Here's Sean McVay from his first media session with reporters at 2026 training camp on the possibility that Aaron Donald will emerge from retirement and rejoin the Rams.
Look, I'm not going to put any sort of parameters on something that I don't have enough information to really be able to gauge that. If Aaron Donald decides he wants to be a part of it, I do think that he's going to impact and influence positive change. I don't think I know he would. But I also know that what he does, he's all in. And so I'm not going to say a yes or no, but the process that we would take place is that, hey, he's going to go through what he's going through right now. We'll see how his body's responding to some of the training and the way that he puts himself through the paces to know what it looks and feels like to be ready to, take on what the rigors of an NFL season entail. And if he's feeling good about that, then we'll move forward. And what those dates are, I'll share with you guys when I have more information.
It's all pointing toward Aaron Donald coming back, right?
Yeah.
He's just taking his time. He's getting back into football shape. As I said last week, and this is a twist on an old Jerry Seinfeld bit, what are all these people doing getting into shape? What are you getting in shape for? I need to be in shape. In shape for what? You're not in shape for anything. You just want to be in shape. Well, Aaron Donald's not getting into football shape so he can just say, hey, I'm in football shape. He's getting in football shape to play football. So it's just like a series of checking boxes. Check, check, check. All systems go. Like a pre-flight inspection on a plane. Check, check, check. Like he's doing all of it. And if it all checks out, he's going to play. It's all moving toward him playing. It's just a question of when.
Agreed. I think the sense is, in the Rams organization is kind of just what you said right there. He's feeling it out. He's seeing how his body reacts, right? He doesn't want to just come back and just be some run-of-the-mill defensive tackle. This is one of the greatest defensive players in the history of football. It's arguably the greatest defensive tackle in the history of football. I mean, like we always talk about, he's upper room Deion Sanders, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady part of the Hall of Fame. This guy is special. He's not going to come back, and this has been the message that's been conveyed to me from the Rams, unless he feels like he can be, one-of-one Aaron Donald type of guy, right? That's it. And on top of that, Mike, I don't know if you heard this on my podcast at all last week. I texted with him a little last week. I had the opportunity, as you know, I've known Aaron Donald for really since back in my Bleacher Report days, was on the boat with him in the pregame of the Super Bowl this year, right? Spent Saturday and Sunday with Aaron Donald on the boat in the pregame show. He's an awesome human being. And I flat out asked him. I was like, we were kind of going back and forth, and I was like, so what do you think? Are we going to do it or what? Are we going to go for it? And he gave me the, hey, honestly, I'm not sure right now. I'm still kind of going through this. I really don't know what to do. And as I said on my podcast last week, I told him not to come back and play. All right? Rams fans, don't be mad at me. But that's what I told him. I said, to me, as you know, we've talked about this with other scenarios before. When you've been out this long and you're still 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out the door, I feel like if you're going to come back, you're like, yeah, I'm coming back. I'm ready to go. And the fact that here we are, training camp time, and we're still not sure, I don't know. I care about the human. That's why I'm saying it, and I really like him and respect him. And I told him not to, but I also know he's capable of doing special things, and he might say, up yours, Sims, I'm playing, and I'll show you who I am here.
There's two competing concerns that I think he needs to figure out how to reconcile.
Yeah.
Number one, he's got to get the fire back. He's got to get the desire back. He got burnt out. He admitted that. Easy to get burnt out when you got 2 or 3 guys who are constantly impeding your effort to do your job. And he's spoken about how frustrating it is to never have a single team. So this is the conundrum for him. This is the dilemma. Myles Garrett's presence will give Aaron Donald something that he never had during the years that he played. The opportunity to not be constantly double and triple teamed. So having Garrett there puts him in a spot where he can work in a way he's never worked before.
Totally.
But is he going to be as good as he was? It's ironic.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the right way to use it. You finally get to a point where you're not going to be constantly harassed by multiple men, and you're not the guy you used to be. You got to find out, am I the guy I used to be? And this is the scale. Like 100% Aaron Donald in comparison to what he used to be, that's a no-brainer. But there's a percentage below 100 where he's still going to be really damn good.
Totally.
And he may not be as good as he used to be. And there's also a range, Chris, where if Myles Garrett is soaking up all the extra attention now, Aaron Donald is less than what he used to be, but he seems better. There's a window there where he's not the guy he quite used to be, who's throwing people around and still blowing the play up when 3 guys are trying to block him.
Yeah.
But he seems even better because those 3 guys are now focused on Myles Garrett. And Aaron Donald's just throwing the one guy on his ass and blowing up the play, and seems even more impressive now. That's the sweet spot that is entirely possible will play out.
The greatest defensive tackle in NFL history may be preparing for one final attack. And if Aaron Donald returns, the NFL might not have an answer. Because this is not just another comeback. This is Aaron Donald, a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, a future Hall of Famer, a player who changed the way teams defended the middle of the field. Now imagine this. Aaron Donald lining up next to Myles Garrett, the most dominant pass rusher of this generation. That is the nightmare scenario offensive coordinators are trying to understand. Some analysts believe the Rams are already capable of challenging the defending Super Bowl champions. And the reason is simple. The gap was already extremely small. One analyst argued that if Los Angeles added just one elite player, the conversation could completely change. Instead, they added multiple game-changing pieces. 2 top-level cornerbacks, Myles Garrett, and possibly the return of Aaron Donald. Even at 70% of his old form, Donald could still be one of the best defensive tackles in football. And that possibility alone changes everything. But the biggest question is not whether Aaron Donald is great. It is whether the monster inside him is still alive. For months, the rumors have continued to grow. Aaron Donald retired after the 2023 season, walking away while still dominating the NFL. But now, the signs are impossible to ignore. The workouts, the preparation, the constant hints that a return could happen. During the Rams' 2026 training camp, Sean McVay addressed the possibility. McVay refused to guarantee anything, but his message was clear. If Aaron Donald decides to return, he will impact this team immediately. But there is one condition. Donald has to know his body can handle the punishment of an NFL season. Because Aaron Donald does not want to return just to play. He wants to return to dominate. He does not want to be a normal defensive tackle. He wants to be the same player who terrified entire offensive lines. And that is why this decision is taking time. Because the standard for Aaron Donald has never been ordinary. And now comes the biggest challenge, finding the fire that made him unstoppable. The biggest battle for Aaron Donald may not be physical. It may be mental. For years, Donald carried an impossible burden. Every game, offenses built their entire protection scheme around stopping one player. Double teams, triple teams, constant attention. Eventually, that pressure created frustration. Donald admitted burnout played a role in his retirement. And that creates the biggest question. Can he find that hunger again? But this time, everything is different. Because Myles Garrett changes the equation. For the first time in his career, Aaron Donald may not be the only player offenses fear. If teams focus on Garrett, Donald gets opportunities. If they focus on Donald, Garrett destroys the quarterback. The NFL has never seen a combination like this. And ironically, Aaron Donald may not need to be the old Aaron Donald. He may actually become more dangerous because defenses finally cannot attack him the same way. But there is still one final question that will decide everything. Nobody expects Aaron Donald to return and instantly become the same player from his prime. The player who destroyed 3 blockers. The player who changed games by himself. That version may be impossible to recreate. But here is the terrifying possibility. Even a reduced Aaron Donald could still be special. A 70% Aaron Donald with one-on-one matchups might be more dangerous than anyone expects. Because instead of fighting through 3 defenders, he may only need to beat 1. And if Myles Garrett is taking away attention on the outside, Donald could once again become the nightmare inside. The Rams are not asking him to carry everything anymore. They are asking him to become the final piece of a defense built to dominate. The question is no longer, was Aaron Donald the greatest? Everyone knows the answer. The question is, can Aaron Donald still become the reason teams fear the Rams again? Because if the answer is yes, the NFL may be watching the return of a legend. And this time, the monster might be even harder to stop.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.